Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Real Positive Girl podcast. Happy Friday. Yes, friends, we made it. We made it to the weekend. So awesome. Happy Friday. If your day has just begun, just go into the day just knowing that you can take control over your mindset and just believe that it's going to be an amazing day. I hope that it's productive for you and awesome, and that you're able to navigate through any sort of problems or hiccups that may happen. If your day has already started and you're just listening to this for a little pick-me-up or a little break, and it's been a rough one, I just hope that you find that time that I always talk about to have some peace, de-stress, de-load, just problem solve, figure out how to get back on track, change your mindset to know that things can get better, will get better, and believe that everything is going to be awesome. You know, you have the power to change your mindset despite what's going on. And I know some things just suck and are hard, but sometimes it's absolutely necessary that we just push through, change our mindset, be humble, be positive, and move forward. So I hope that helps you. But happy Friday. Just a reminder that this week, and we're coming to the end of it, last episode for this week we were talking about motivating yourself. And I felt like the episodes this week have been really good, and I hope they've actually been really helpful for you. Today, Friday, we are talking about do it despite your mood. So this is the episode where it's going to be a lot of hard truths. So I hope that you're ready. Let's go ahead and just jump right in. We aren't always going to be motivated to get something done or keep going. Isn't that the truth? We are just not. Like this whole week I've been talking about how to keep yourself motivated, create a system that will help you be motivated to keep going, how to figure out why you aren't motivated. But sometimes, despite anything that I've said this week, sometimes it's just not going to work. And sometimes we just want to stop and not do what we really feel driven to do. We just don't want to do it. And a lot of times it's going to take discipline and grit to get stuff done. Like legit, it's not going to, you're not going to be able to give yourself any sort of inspiration or any sort of positivity to keep doing. You're just going to have to tap into that discipline that you've created by creating it into a habit or into a system, just like a thing that you do every day and work on, and really push into that grit that you have deep inside of you and just get stuff done. There are going to be many times in our lives that require us to keep going despite our mood. Even after all the suggestions I've given this week, sometimes our final option is to just do it, even if it means, just to do it if it means enough to us. Even despite how passionate, how driven we might be to continue on the journey of this thing, there are going to be times where we're just going to be like, okay, I'm going to do it, but I'm going to be kind of in a grumpy mood about it, but I'm going to push through. There's been many times where I have woken up at 5:30 in the morning, as I discussed before, to go to the gym, and I'm grumpy, and I don't want to be there. I'll literally roll up to the gym. There's generally always the same girl at the counter, and I'm like, hey girl, and she's like, hey, how are you doing? And then there's been many times I'll be like, oh, I'm so grumpy. And she'll be like, oh. And I love when people are like, how are you doing? And I genuinely just tell them how I'm doing without being too invasive and super, super honest, transparent. I am pretty honest and transparent. That is my goal. It's one of my top goals in life to be, but not so much that it's going to overwhelm someone. But I love just being honest and being like, yeah, I'm grumpy, or I'm having a hard day, because people just expect you to be like, I'm okay, or I'm great, or I'm fine. And I want to be super normal and honest and be like, yeah, I'm grumpy, but I'm getting through it. That's usually what I say. I'm like, I'm grumpy, but I know I'm going to get over it after I start working out. Or I'll be like, I'm really tired, or I just don't want to be here, but I'm here because I know that it'll benefit me in the end. So I would say that's just something that we should all aspire to do, to be totally honest. Kind of catches people off guard right now, but I feel like if all of us in the world come together and are more like that, more people will be honest, and maybe we'll have more opportunities to help our community, help the people that we see on a daily basis, even if it's just a small piece of encouragement or inspiration, like that can mean the world to someone and you don't even know. So anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent. But yeah, so sometimes we just have to keep going despite our moves. So sometimes you might just have to get up and, do those writing prompts if that's really important to you, or come up with video ideas despite how lazy and grumpy you feel. Or maybe you're just not feeling well, but you know that you need to at least go to the gym and walk on the treadmill and then see how you're going to feel after that. So whatever it is, or for me, I might want to sit down and just binge watch something on Netflix instead of write my podcast content. But I know that I'm like, you know what, just, listen to some music, write your content, know that once it's done, you're able to do whatever. Sometimes you just have to grit your teeth and get through it. Sometimes you will need to ask yourself if you're comfortable getting behind on your timeline, missing out on possible opportunities if you get behind on your goals, whether or not doing what needs to get done will negatively impact you. So there might be times where you just don't want to do it. You just don't want to do whatever it is at all whatsoever. No negotiation is going to change your mind. Okay, well, if you don't do it, what are the negative impacts to that? If you don't go to the gym, are you going to feel super guilty? Which you shouldn't, because we all deserve off days. But let's say you decide to, you already had a rest day. Or maybe you do it like I do, where I work out Monday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday I don't work out. So Monday comes and you're like, oh, I don't want to go. I really don't want to go. But you've already had 2 days off. Are you going to feel really guilty? Is that going to negatively impact whatever program that you're following at the gym? Is that going to mess with the muscle groups that you train? Are you going to feel off and you're not going to feel like you're going to recover in time, or this, that, and the other? How is it going to negatively affect your goals, your timeline, your journey if you don't stay on track with what you're supposed to do? Now, maybe you're saying, well, I'm just a writer, or I'm just trying to be a writer. I'm just trying to post videos. It's not really going to affect anything. But maybe it'll affect your growth, your growth opportunities. Maybe it'll affect what opportunities you could have if you stay on track. And I don't know what kind of opportunities those would be, maybe if you're creating content online or something like that, if you miss out on doing a couple things and realize that down the line, someone wants you to do something, but you needed to have this much experience or have done this many videos so far, or whatever, and you can't because you haven't, because you decided not to do it. Do you know what I mean? It's super generalized, but it doesn't matter. You have to really think about what you could be missing out on if you don't just push through. And I would say that even if you're in a bad mood or grumpy or upset or sad or whatever, you definitely want to deal with those feelings. You don't want to overshadow them and just push them out of the way. You want to deal with them and figure out what's going on with yourself. But also, if you find that doing what you're supposed to do can be a distraction or help you be in a better mood and get you out of those negative moods by just doing the thing that you need to do, then do it. Sometimes we just have to force ourselves to do the things so that we continue to stay on track, and we know that if we do it now, despite how we're feeling, we will feel so much better about it later and not regret not doing it. Hopefully that makes sense. Another option is to have someone that supports you in your journey to keep you accountable. I always talk about having accountability partners, even though I don't like them, even though I'm just not, I feel like the only accountability partner that I like is my counselor, because I feel like that relationship is just created in that way. But I don't want anyone else in my life to keep me accountable. Even my husband, it's not helpful to me. But if it is helpful to you, then I encourage you to do it. I have nothing against it. It just personally doesn't work for me. I've tried it. It doesn't work. But I would, that's just another option though. Have an accountability partner, whether maybe you just like to have your counselor, or maybe you want to have your spouse be your accountability partner. Maybe you want to have an online accountability partner. There are several people online that like to have those friends online that go back and forth and share what they did that day and whether they accomplished it or not. It's just high fives all around. If that works, then do it. Reach out to that person when you just can't do it anymore or go any further and ask them to help you get back on track. So even if that's your best friend or your parents, whoever it is in your life, reach out to them. Ask them for support. Ask them for help. Tell them how you're feeling. Maybe you need to go into like what you're feeling and what's going on in your life first. And then once you resolve that or figure that out or get some sense of what's going on, then they can help you get back on track as well. So sometimes it's not going to be pleasant. It's not going to be happy. It's not going to be what we want to do. It's just going to be another thing on our to-do list that we are going to either force ourselves to check off, or we're going to not do it at all and risk whatever consequences might come. Maybe there's not any consequences, Like for me, after I finish recording all my podcast episodes, if I don't take the time to edit them and post them all in the same day, there's not any consequences, but I do feel bad because if I don't get them up on time so that people can access them when they need to, what's appropriate for their schedule, then I will feel bad, and then I could miss out on people who would have listening, because maybe they're like, oh, well, she doesn't post on time, or she doesn't post at a time that's flexible for everyone, so, maybe I won't listen this time, or maybe someone went out of their way to recommend me, and then for whatever reason, I didn't post that episode at the time that they told them that it would be up, like I normally do. So I normally post them to be live at the same time every single day, and then they went there and it wasn't there because I didn't have the due diligence to just do the work I needed to get done to create less work for later, and then I missed out on getting that person to listen to my podcast. I won't ever know, but it's really sad to think about that, and that could be a possibility. Or maybe I will find out because someone will be like, yeah, I recommend to come listen, but you didn't have the newest one up, and so they didn't want to listen, or they were like, no, not interested anymore. So just think of the possible consequences that could come if there truly aren't any, and you've to live your life kind of like loosey-goosey, like it's fine, everything's up in the air, nothing is planned or scheduled, then you know what? You have to do you. You have to do what is best for you. For me, I like everything organized and scheduled out, and I actually like I like to have consequences in my life because it really pushes me to get crap done. And that's the kind of mentality that I like to have. Get stuff done, feel accomplished, feel like I'm able to check that off and move on to the next thing on my journey. So that's it. That's really it. Sometimes you just have to do it despite how you're feeling. You got to have discipline and grit. You just got to keep going. Do it. You'll feel better afterwards. And then you can just move on and figure out why you're feeling like crap too. So again, happy Friday. Thanks again for joining me for this episode of the Real Positive Girl podcast. I would encourage you to share this with anyone you might feel would benefit from this episode or any previous episodes at all. Thanks again for joining me for this week talking about motivating yourself. I hope that it's been really helpful. Go ahead and check the description box and you can send me an email or come and visit me over on Instagram. I'd really love that. Again, thanks again for listening and coming back, and I hope that you will join me next week on Monday for a new theme of the week that we will talk about. And I hope you have a great weekend. Really enjoy it. Feel positive and productive and awesome. So thanks again. I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Bye, everyone.